That's right. It's coffee time with Pastor Joseph, and it's episode number 14, and I'm doing it a little bit on the fly today. So I literally did this playing the music on my iPad and doing this on my phone because my computer is busy rendering things out for a project that I'm trying to finish tomorrow. And so I didn't want to interrupt that to do this, but it also gave me the ability to walk around my house a little bit, and I can go outside because we are here, and in Colorado we have the stay-at-home orders, the shelter-in-place orders, to not go out and about unless we absolutely have to. So I'm about to make some a bit of tea. I usually drink coffee, but it's late in the afternoon, so I'm going to drink some tea here. And you can see well, I don't have enough hands, so almost. So this cup that I'm using, I'll tell you about this mug. There we go. I'm drinking some kind of peppermint tea. It probably has caffeine in it, but that's okay. So here we go. Pour a little bit of hot water into my cup. Let that start steeping. That's looking really good. Awesome. All right, so this mug that I'm using is from Mount Evans here in Colorado. And a couple of years ago, Stacy's sister Amy and her husband Brian came out. And we went up to Mount Evans, and we drove up to Mount Evans. We stopped there at Echo Lake at the lodge, and that's when I bought this mug. And so Brian and Amy were here for I think another couple more days after that. And the whole time that they were here, Amy used to use this mug. And so for the longest time, I never thought of this as my mug. I always thought of it as Amy's mug. And so I had to really use it a few times to be okay with it being my mug. So here's what's going on in the backyard. So let me see. I'm going to have to show you all of the disaster that we have back here as we're working on projects. But this is what's happening.
Hey there.
We have, let's see if you can see what's going on here. So this is the roasting biscuit dough on top of a little fire and putting honey on it as it gets ready and munching on it.
Oh my goodness. This was a family tradition that we had.
So it looks like William wants some too.
William, you want to come get some?
Oh, you got your hands dirty? Or you want some food? You have something to say? You have an owie? Okay, where's your... Oh, you have a bad owie. I see. No, he just had some pine needles stuck in his hand. All right. Come over here, William. Get some food from Mommy. So...
William, you want some food?
So... Oh dear, now he fell down. So this is the awesome part, the blessing that I wanted to just share with you guys tonight. I was thinking all day as I was working on various things that I don't actually have I'm not actually prepared with a good topic of what I want to talk about tonight. And so I just was glad to be able to come out here in the backyard for a minute and to just chat because, you know, if we would have had the stay-at-home order 6 months ago, we would have been in a 2-bedroom apartment with a shared backyard and shared entrances and just a lot less freedom. And so now that we're here in this house, it's been a huge blessing for us because we're actually able to come outside in the backyard and do things. And the boys have, let me see if I can flip the camera around again. Since we've been here, the boys have gotten this from their grandparents. We got this from a friend. We got this little swing, which actually was here. Stacy found a trampoline for the guys, and over here, yeah, she found a trampoline on Craigslist, and Peter has a bunny rabbit that he has over here now. The name of the bunny rabbit is Chef. So let me see if you can get it out without me losing connection over at this side of the... Okay.
Sometimes it's just easier to pull her out of so that she can't escape anywhere.
So what's the color? What is the proper name for the color of this bunny?
I don't remember it.
Opal. Opal is the proper name, but you named the bunny Chef.
Yeah, because they call them a doe when it's a girl, and so.
So you think a
So
doe?
I'm doing all cooking names.
So you're doing all cooking names for the.
And then hunting names for the boys.
So you want to have more. All right, so there's the bunny rabbit that Peter Marshall has.
She also has a little tattoo in her ear.
Uh-huh.
So I can put her in the show, except she has a hay infection on her eye, so she probably wouldn't win because her eye has a problem.
Okay. That's awesome. So, that's a little bit of what's going on around here all day, and I have to be careful when with everything that's happening, that I can actually stay focused on the work that I have at hand. I am so blessed to be able to be working from home right now, and let's see if I can come inside here without getting overwhelmed by the sunshine. Here we go. This might work. So, there we go. Now, I named the name of this particular live stream. I just called it Safe at Home. And I saw in the last couple of days, somewhere on Facebook, I saw someone had made a meme, I guess, and it said you can change the words. You can either say stuck at home or safe at home. And it makes a world of difference how you feel about the fact that you're at home in your own house. And it's true, when I feel that my house is a place where I am able to actually be not only safe, but to be productive and to be operating well. And so I have a little guy over here trying to eat food that's not his to eat. Here, William, can you say hi? Can you say hi? Not really? You just a sad baby? Oh my. Well, why don't you go that way? All right. He's going out to mommy. So, the thought I had that I wanted to just share was that so much of our home life that we have is dictated by how we see our house, how we see each other. And so, for instance, little William that was just here, he's in a sad state at the moment because he really needs someone else to meet his every need. Like today he came to me and he was telling me this thing, trying to get me to come with him. Finally he's like, this, and he was turning his hand. And so I went with him to see what he needed, and he wanted me to open a door for him, and he figured out he needed this, and this with his hand, and he couldn't do it. So I helped him go outside, but he literally is stuck where someone else has to take care of everything. And so I think, sometimes people say something like, man, I wish I was a child again, or I wish I had, and you stop and you think, well, is that really what I wish? Is that really what I would like to be? And the reality is, no, probably not. You probably don't actually want to be like a baby again, because a baby can't take care of itself at all, can't feed itself, can't dress itself, can't move. And for someone like me, that would be very stressful if I couldn't actually move or take care of myself. And so I am very glad I'm not a baby. And if you ever watched a baby sleep, I don't even want to sleep like a baby. Like a baby tosses and turns and like, okay, there's some moments when you're holding a baby when it just falls asleep and it just lies there and it's so peaceful and beautiful, and you that I think is what people mean when they say sleep like a baby. But if you've ever tried to let a baby sleep in bed with you, they don't sleep well. They wiggle and kick and turn and squiggle and squirm, and it's not. I don't want to sleep like that. I want to sleep peacefully. And so the thought I was having today, watching my own boys, because little William, he already gets the instruction from me and from his mommy when he's having a rough time. We say, listen, William, you need to choose a happy heart. You need to choose an obedient heart. You need to choose a happy heart. And what we're telling our boys from the time they're very small is that joy And obedience is a choice. It's not just something that happens. It's a choice. It's something that we have to make happen. And so in their case, the sooner they learn to choose joy, the sooner they learn to choose obedience, the happier they can be. And I think in our instance, for ourselves, the sooner we can learn to choose joy in circumstances, the sooner that we can learn to trust that God is doing something. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a shallow sort of way. I really mean that we can trust what God is doing if we are willing to submit ourselves to Him. There's a lot of times when people say, well, that must have been God's will. When I look at the brokenness of the world around me, I say it wasn't necessarily God's will, because God has on purpose intervened into the brokenness of what's happening in the world and sent Jesus to rescue us from the brokenness. He wasn't okay with the level of brokenness that was in the world, so He sent Jesus to rescue us from that. In the same way, there's a lot of things happening in our lives day to day that God is not okay with. He's not going, oh yeah, that's exactly the pain I want. What He really wants is to rescue us. And so what He's looking for is for us to bring our pain to Him, to bring our problems to Him, and to allow Him to transform them. He uses anything and everything. It is absolutely amazing for me to watch how God uses anything. The enemy means it for evil, God uses it. The world is broken, God uses it. Absolutely phenomenal. And so I just wanted to share briefly. I didn't have a lot of time today because I'm working on a project trying to be finished tomorrow. But I did want to share, and so I've been drinking, not coffee, but I've been drinking the peppermint tea most all of the afternoon because it's a nice, refreshing taste. And so I've been drinking that and thinking, as I've been watching my boys outside playing, just of the fact that we're all able to be in our Father's care in the same way that they are. They are in my care, they're in their mother's care, and as long as they're obedient and joyful, they're having a great time. They have an awesome childhood. They have the backyard to play in. It's awesome. But if they start focusing on the things they don't have, or if they start focusing on things that they want or things that we don't allow them to do, it can be very discouraging for them. And so I would just encourage you to look at your circumstances right now. I don't know if you're being impacted by the virus itself or if you're being impacted by the reaction and the response to the virus, because right now I know a few people who have had some connection to the virus, but I know a lot of people who have had their lives turned upside down by the response to the virus. And so because of that, most of us are facing some sort of a challenge, either because of the virus or because of the response, other people, the way the people are responding to the virus. And it's, history itself will bear out what really would have been the best way to respond. And so I don't want to point fingers or to pretend that I have the answers, because I really don't. I've just been very grateful that I've not been in a position of having to make some of these decisions that impact so many people. And I'm grateful that I can be safe at home in my own house, still working, because my office is here downstairs, and I'm still being able to edit, and we're still able to live stream our church services. We're still able to use conference software and see people face to face in our prayer meetings, and our fellowship times are still sweet, and I'm really grateful for that. And so I am glad for that perspective. I could either be stuck here or I could be safe here, and I choose to be safe. I choose to be joyful, and I choose to be grateful for what God is doing. So those are my thoughts. And so if I'm going to finish this out correctly, I have to go back downstairs where I can actually play my music again and end my coffee time with Pastor Joseph correctly. So I was trying to think of stories that I could share, and I just don't have. I have all my books here, so I have plenty of stories in books, but you could read those as well. And that's something that I would encourage you, is if you aren't used to it and you have more free time on your hands right now than you usually do, well, this is an excellent time to be able to read. So let me see if I can make this happen here. And I read so many books different times. Right now I have several that I've been trying to read, but I don't have the thing that I appreciate the most. For instance, I have a bunch of books over here about men's leadership. And when I read those books, I have a big problem with a lot of them in that they have all kinds of instruction. They have all kinds of tell them this is how you ought to do it. And they don't always have as much of an actual stories. The things that I remember in these is stories. And so I'm always looking for books that are written for men to encourage men in their faith, to encourage, and this is true for women as well, but I'm looking for ones for men because I'm a man. And I'm looking for a book or a story, something that will encourage me in my faith that I can remember long term. Because sometimes something like a book, I can easily forget if you just give me 7 points or 7 steps or 8 truths or whatever I need to be doing. Hi, Gerald. Glad you're on here, Uncle. And so I like reading books that have stories. So if you ever find a book that is meant for men to encourage men, and it's just full of stories, then I would love to hear about it. I have one that has just really been an encouragement to me. I think it's up here. It is right here, this book. This book is, let's see, 7 Men by Eric Metaxas, 7 Men and the Secrets of Their Greatness. And it's just the stories of 7 different men and how they came to know the Lord. And I remember some of those stories long after. I have up there several other books that are about men's leadership and other stuff, and I can't remember that stuff. I really want stories. So if you know of any really good books that are encouraging and exciting and help encourage men in their leadership and they're full of stories, I would love to hear about them. You can tell me about them. And if it's just general Christian stories, that's fine too. If it's for everyone, that's awesome. I just find it usually when writing to men, people get very serious and they make all these lists and bullets and topics and ethics and morals and all principles and all of that stuff, which is fine, but it's sometimes very boring, and I don't like boring. I like interesting and exciting. So I'm going to get back to the work I was doing over yonder, where I'm rendering out some things, and I think actually some of you will be seeing some of these trailers and stuff online in the next couple of days. You're going to start seeing some of the stuff I've been working on. It has to do with the Sail and Sing cruise. So if you're connected with any of the groups that were in this particular cruise, you'll probably see some of my work here in the next couple of days. So that's what I am doing, and I have, let me see if my closing is here. I think it is. There we go. So thanks for tuning in, and I'm not drinking coffee, I'm drinking tea. My family is safe at home, outside in the backyard, roasting things on an open fire right now, and I am grateful that my Heavenly Father has me safe at home, even though one day I will be for real with Him face to face. Until that time, I'm safe and secure with Him. And so I'm grateful for the safety of a home, both within the kingdom of heaven and just the physical home that we have here. I'm so glad that we have this place. So that's my thoughts for today, and I'll see you next time. Oh. I say I will see you next time. Let's try that again. Here we go. Yep, there it is. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.